In the bustling city of Lumumba Heights, where tall glass buildings kiss the sky and expensive cars hum like insects in the heat, there lived a woman named Mama Kanda, a mother known throughout the business world for raising one of the youngest billionaires on the continent. People said that her son, Kanda Jr., could make money grow from dry stones. But those who truly knew the family whispered an even deeper truth. Behind every empire he built, his mother's wisdom stood like an unshakable pillar. Yet wealth, my child, does not silence a mother's worries, especially when it comes to who will walk beside her son. And so, this story begins with Mama Kanda sitting on her grand balcony at dawn, sipping warm herbal tea as the sun painted the sky orange. She looked thoughtful, troubled, and older than her years. The maids moved quietly around her, knowing better than to disturb that sacred moment. Her sister, Annie Salama, arrived with her usual loud footsteps and louder voice. "Mama Kanda," she boomed, hands on her hips. "I hear your son is finally considering marriage. Is it true?" Mama Kanda let out a long sigh. "It is true, Salama, but the world is full of pretend hearts. Every girl smiles sweetly when a man is rich." Andy Salama clapped her hands dramatically. "Then choose for him. In our days, mothers decided. These modern girls, they love money more than air." Mama Kanda smiled, but it was a sad smile. Kanda Jr. wants to choose for himself. He has met a woman named Aisha. "Aisha," Andy Salama repeated, frowning. "What does she do? Where is she from? Does she know how to cook? Does she know how to respect elders?" Mama Kanda only shook her head. "I have not met her, but he says she is kind." Andy Salama laughed loudly. "Kindness? These girls can act kindness better than actresses in Nollywood films." Mama Kanda said nothing, but her eyes had a storm forming inside them. Deep down, she feared the same thing. She had seen many women try to approach her son, not for love, but for what his name could give them. And so, as the birds sang outside and the city awakened, Mama Kanda made a decision that would shake her family and expose the truth. Meanwhile, in a much humbler part of the city, far from the polished streets and gated houses, there lived Aisha, a young woman of quiet nature and hard-working spirit. She lived with her aunt and two cousins in a small apartment with peeling paint, noisy neighbors, and the smell of frying plantain drifting through the hallways. Aisha was not rich, but she possessed something far rarer, a heart that could soften stone. She worked as a junior accountant in a small local firm. Every morning she woke before everyone else, tied her hair in a simple bun, and whispered prayers for strength. Those who knew her said, "Aisha has a soul that carries light." But Aisha never saw herself that way. She simply did what she could, gave what she could, loved where she could. It was on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon that her life changed. She was returning from work when her phone buzzed. Kanda Jr. "Aisha, my mother wants to meet you. Tomorrow." Aisha froze. Her heart beat loudly in her ears. His mother? Already? She knew of Mama Kanda, the powerful matriarch, the respected businesswoman, the iron-willed queen of the Kanda Empire. Even imagining meeting her made Aisha's stomach twist with fear. Aisha typed back, "I understand. I will be ready." But inside, she whispered prayers to the heavens, trembling. The next morning, before the sun had fully risen, Mama Kanda stood before her massive walk-in wardrobe. But instead of reaching for her elegant gowns or her famous silk head wraps, she chose something else. A faded brown dress, a simple wrapper, a cheap scarf. She looked like a completely different woman, an ordinary cleaner searching for daily wages. Annie Salama stared at her as though she had gone mad. "Mama Kanda, what in the world are you wearing?" "I need to know who this girl truly is," Mama Kanda said calmly. "And a true heart reveals itself only when it believes no one is watching. So you will spy on her?" Salama shouted. "I will observe," Mama Kanda corrected. "And pretend to be a cleaner in your own house?" "Yes." Annie Salama slapped her forehead. Rich people have problems that the rest of us cannot understand." But Mama Kanda was firm. She knew that if Aisha was going to marry into her family, her character had to shine even without knowing she was being watched. Later that morning, Aisha arrived at the mansion. She stood at the gates, her hands trembling slightly, her eyes wide at the sheer size of the estate. The guards checked her name, nodded, and led her inside. Everything looked like a scene from a dream. Shiny marble floors, golden chandeliers, and art pieces worth more than her entire neighborhood. While Aisha waited in the living room, a cleaner appeared, bent, slow, and quietly sweeping. It was Mama Kanda, but Aisha didn't know. When the broom slipped from Mama Kanda's hand, Aisha rushed forward. "Oh, let me help you," she said immediately. Kneeling down to pick it up, Mama Kanda watched her carefully. Most visitors ignored the staff. Some even stepped over them. But this girl, this humble, simple girl, helped without hesitation. "You don't have to do that," Mama Kanda whispered, testing her. "It's all right," Aisha smiled softly. "We all need help sometimes." Mama Kanda's eyes narrowed slightly. Was she genuine, or was it an act? Aisha then noticed the older woman's leg trembling. "Are you tired?" Aisha asked gently. "Would you like water? I can get it for you." That was the moment something flickered inside Mama Kanda's eyes. Something like confusion, maybe even hope. But she pushed it aside. One moment of kindness did not prove a heart. Aisha smiled again, unaware of the storm she had just walked into. And somewhere upstairs, the billionaire's son, Kanda Jr., waited nervously for two women, one he loved and one he feared, whose first meeting had just begun in the most unexpected way. And little did Aisha know, the cleaner she had helped was the very woman whose approval could change her destiny forever. Mama Kanda continued sweeping the edges of the great living room, her posture slightly bent, her scarf pulled low over her forehead, but her eyes, sharp, observant, calculating, never stopped watching Aisha. Aisha, unaware of this hidden scrutiny, sat quietly on the edge of the velvet sofa, her hands folded on her lap. She tried to keep her breathing steady, but her heart raced like a drum in a festival dance. The mansion felt too big, too silent, too heavy with wealth and expectation. Just then, one of the younger maids walked in. She glanced at Aisha, then at Mama Kanda, and whispered loudly enough for Aisha to hear. "Ah, that must be the new girl the young master is bringing home. I hope she's not like the others." Mama Kanda's ears twitched. Aisha's eyebrows rose. "What do you mean?" Aisha asked softly. The maid shrugged. "Women come here acting like angels, but the moment they see luxury, they turn into lions. They shout at us, call us names, throw shoes, some even film TikToks saying they finally made it." Aisha gasped. "People behave like that?" The maid nodded vigorously. "You have no idea. Many times, Mama Kanda herself chased them away." Mama Kanda hid a smile behind her broom. "Oh, if only the girl knew how close the old woman really was." The maid continued. "The young master seems different. He wants someone kind, someone real." Aisha swallowed. Her chest tightened. Was she enough? Would she ever fit into such a world? Mama Kanda continued sweeping, but inside her heart a knot of tension slowly loosened. Aisha didn't seem the type drawn to gold. She wasn't demanding tea. She wasn't asking for selfies. She wasn't flaunting her presence. Instead, Aisha helped when she wasn't expected to help, listened when she wasn't required to listen, and stayed humble despite being surrounded by luxury. But Mama Kanda wasn't convinced yet. "Let the day reveal more," she told herself. A shout echoed from the hallway. "You there! Clean this better." It was Janet, the senior housekeeper, strict, proud, and known to test newcomers with her sharp tongue. She marched into the living room, glaring at Mama Kanda, who she believed was just another temporary cleaner. "You!" Janet barked. "You missed a spot near the staircase. Must I teach you everything?" Aisha's eyes widened. Janet was scolding an elderly woman. "That is not right," Aisha whispered under her breath. Janet continued, "And stop being slow. We keep standards in this house." Mama Kanda lowered her head submissively, playing the role. But her heart thumped with interest. Would Aisha ignore the injustice? Or would she speak up? Aisha stood up, unsure she should interfere. But then courage sparked inside her chest. She stepped forward. "I'm sorry," she said respectfully. But she is older. Maybe she is tired. Janet turned, shocked. And, excuse me. Aisha swallowed. She stood her ground. She is trying her best. We should talk to her kindly. Janet scoffed. And who are you to teach me how to run the staff? Aisha bowed her head slightly. I don't mean disrespect, but kindness costs nothing. Mama Kanda froze. Her heart, accustomed to decades of caution and skepticism, skipped a beat. Many girls tried to impress the wealthy, but very few protected those who could offer them nothing. Janet rolled her eyes. Young lady, this is not your business. Sit down. But Aisha gently touched Mama Kanda's arm. Would you like some water? She asked softly. Or to rest a bit? Mama Kanda's lips trembled slightly. She had lived long enough to recognize genuine compassion. Janet huffed and stormed away. The moment she left, Aisha let out a deep breath. Her palms were sweaty. Her heart pounded. I'm sorry, she whispered to the cleaner. I hope I didn't make things worse for you. Mama Kanda finally spoke with a hoarse, aged voice. You are brave and kind. Aisha shook her head. I'm only trying to do what's right. Mama Kanda paused her sweeping, watching the girl carefully. In her mind, an old village proverb echoed. A heart that is kind in small things will be kind in bigger things. Outside the mansion, a different kind of tension brewed. The neighbors, especially the elderly women who gathered outside the estate every morning, were buzzing with gossip. They say the billionaire's son has found a village girl. I heard she is very poor. Poor? That is good. Poor girls respect marriage. Ha! Or she will drain him the moment she learns where he keeps his money. They cackled and speculated, adding spice to every rumor. One old man passing by chuckled. Women, your mouths are buckets with no lids. But the gossip spread like wildfire. Even in Aisha's neighborhood, downstairs neighbors whispered as she passed. She is dating the billionaire's son? No wonder she looks so quiet. She will forget us soon. I bet she will bring him to this poor building. We will all benefit. Aisha could feel the pressure from every direction, but she carried herself with humility. She knew that people would talk, but she refused to let gossip reshape her heart. Back in the mansion, Mama Kanda had prepared one more test. She purposely knocked over a fragile glass vase worth more money than Aisha had ever held at once. The vase smashed into pieces. Aisha gasped, Oh no! Are you all right? Janet rushed in immediately. You foolish woman. Do you know how much that costs? Aisha stepped in front of the cleaner, shielding her. Please don't shout at her, Aisha said firmly. It was an accident. Accident. Janet barked. This comes from her salary. Aisha shook her head. Then take it from mine. Janet blinked. Even Mama Kanda froze. You would pay? Janet asked in disbelief. Aisha nodded. If it protects her from trouble, yes. Janet's jaw dropped. Mama Kanda stared at the girl in shock, her heart trembling. Why? Mama Kanda whispered. You owe me nothing. Because everyone makes mistakes, Aisha answered gently. And because I would want someone to defend me too. Mama Kanda closed her eyes. For the first time since her son mentioned Aisha's name, the old woman felt something loosening in her chest. Respect, admiration, hope. But she still needed one more thing, one more truth, before she made her final judgment. And so, as Aisha stood bravely between a housekeeper and a disguised mother, Mama Kanda made a silent decision. Tomorrow, I will reveal who I truly am. But little did she know, someone else had already begun to suspect her strange behavior, and the moment of truth was coming faster than she expected. The next morning, the mansion felt different, tense, unusually quiet, as if the walls themselves were waiting for something to unfold. The staff moved with hushed voices, exchanging whispers behind polished pillars and marble floors. Everyone had noticed the strange way the old cleaner walked with authority, how the senior staff stepped back when she passed, and how the guards greeted her with nervous respect. Something was off, very off, and rumors had begun to swirl like dust in a storm. Aisha arrived early, clutching a small bag. She had brought homemade bread, her aunt's recipe, to offer as a respectful gesture to the family. She wasn't sure if it was appropriate in such a wealthy home, but she wanted to come with sincerity. As she stepped inside, she noticed the same old cleaner mopping near the large window. Aisha smiled warmly. "Good morning." Mama Kanda, still disguised, looked up. "Good morning, child." Aisha placed the bread on a table and walked to her. "Is your leg better today? You were trembling yesterday." Mama Kanda blinked slowly. "You notice such small things?" Aisha shrugged softly. "My mother taught me that kindness grows from paying attention." Mama Kanda felt something tighten in her throat. Words of wisdom she once taught her own son echoed back at her, spoken now through a girl who knew nothing about her. But before she could respond, Kanda Jr. stepped into the room. He looked confused. "Mother," he called. Mama Kanda jerked her head up. Aisha froze. Janet dropped the cloth she was holding. "Mother? I mean the cleaner, where's Mother?" Kanda stammered, but the damage was done. Aisha stared at the cleaner, her mouth falling open. Her eyes widened with shock, then disbelief, then a dawning horror that turned her cheeks pale. "You!" she whispered. "You're Mama Kanda?" The room fell still. Mama Kanda slowly straightened her back, shedding the frail posture she had been carrying like a costume. Her voice, when she spoke, was steady and sharp, full of power. "Yes," she said quietly. "I am." Aisha felt her heart pound violently. Her knees weakened. Her breath escaped in short bursts. All this time, all those moments, every interaction, she had been talking to the most powerful woman in the city, and she had spoken freely, honestly, innocently. Shame washed over her like cold water. I didn't know," Aisha whispered, stepping back slightly. "You were not meant to know," Mama Kanda replied. Her voice carried no apology. Kanda Jr. stepped forward, panic rising in his eyes. "Mother, what are you doing?" he demanded. "Why are you dressed like this? Why didn't you tell me?" Mama Kanda's eyes didn't leave Aisha. "I needed to know the truth," she said firmly. About her heart." Aisha swallowed hard, her eyes burning with confusion. "You didn't trust me," she whispered. "I didn't know you," Mama Kanda answered. "And trust is earned." Aisha lowered her gaze, shame and pain mixing inside her chest. Kanda ran to her side. "Aisha, listen." But before he could continue, Andy Salama stormed into the room dramatically. I knew it," she bellowed. "The whole house is talking. My sister pretended to be a cleaner again." The staff gasped. Aisha felt even smaller. "If she failed the test," Salama continued loudly, "let's end it quickly. We cannot let just anyone into our family." Aisha stiffened. Kanda stepped forward protectively. But Mama Kanda raised a hand. "Salama, enough." Everyone fell silent immediately. Then, turning back to Aisha, she said, "There are things we must discuss." Aisha felt her stomach twist. "Follow me," Mama Kanda commanded. She led them to the great hall, where 3 chairs were arranged before a long wooden table that looked ancient, carved with traditional symbols from her home village. It was the same table where the family discussed deals, conflicts, and matters of honor. Aisha's legs trembled as she approached it. The staff gathered outside the door, listening. Gossipers pressed their ears to the walls. Even the guard stood unusually still, the air heavy with suspense. This was the moment, the gathering, the test. Mama Kanda sat at the center. Kanda sat to her right. Aisha sat opposite them, alone. Her hands trembled in her lap. Mama Kanda spoke first. "You think I pretended to be a cleaner because I enjoyed deceiving people?" Aisha shook her head slowly. "No," Mama Kanda said. "I did it because wealth hides the truth. Everyone is kind when money is watching." Aisha felt tears sting her eyes. Mama Kanda leaned forward. "I watched you closely, Aisha. Every step you took, every word you said." Aisha swallowed hard. "You helped me without knowing who I was. You defended me when Janet yelled. You tried to pay for a broken vase that wasn't your fault." Aisha lowered her gaze. It was the right thing to do. Mama Kanda's eyes softened for a moment, but the softness quickly disappeared. replaced by seriousness. But, she continued, a marriage into this family is not built on kindness alone. It requires strength, wisdom, patience. The world will talk about you, judge you, attack you. She gestured around the mansion. Can you survive in a place where every step is watched? Aisha looked up slowly. Her voice was small but steady. I don't know, she admitted, but I know I would try. Mama Kanda tapped the table thoughtfully. Stand up, she ordered. Aisha obeyed. Tell me, the old woman asked, why do you want to be with my son? The hall grew silent. Even the walls seemed to lean in. Aisha's eyes met Mama Kanda's, trembling but honest. I don't want his money, she said. I want him. The man he is, the heart he has. He makes me feel safe. He listens to me. He respects me. And I love him. Kanda's breath caught. His eyes softened with emotion. Mama Kanda's face remained unreadable. And if he lost everything tomorrow, she asked. If he became an ordinary man with nothing? Aisha answered without hesitation. Then I would stand beside him the same way. A heavy silence spread across the room. Something shifted in Mama Kanda's eyes. For the first time since the test began, she believed her, but she was not ready to end it. Not yet. One final test remains, Mama Kanda said solemnly, rising from her chair. Aisha's heart hammered in her chest. What test? She whispered. Mama Kanda stepped closer, her face inches from hers. A test that will show whether your love is real or just beautifully spoken. She paused. Tomorrow, at sunrise, you will face it. The mansion shook with murmurs. The staff erupted in whispers. Kanda grabbed Aisha's hand in fear. But Mama Kanda only turned away, her voice cold and commanding. Let the truth reveal itself. The sun was lowering behind the acacia trees when the courtyard finally grew quiet. The whispers faded, the murmurs settled, and all eyes shifted to Mama Damilola as she stood firmly before the crowd. Her scarf had slipped slightly from the rush of the confrontation, revealing the dignity and softness she always carried beneath her stern exterior. But her voice, her voice, steady, heavy, and full of history, commanded silence. Aisha, she said, calling the young woman forward, you have defended yourself before everyone here, but words alone are not the measure of a woman's heart. Aisha swallowed hard and stepped closer. She looked exhausted, but she did not tremble. Her eyes, clear, wet, unwavering, held the courage of someone who had tasted humiliation publicly yet refused to bend toward shame. Yes, Mama, she replied quietly. If there is something I must do to prove myself, I will do it. The villagers leaned in. This was the moment they all waited for. The moment every story around the fireside hinted at. The moment where truth is revealed and character is weighed like grain on the elder scale. Mama Damilola nodded slowly. Tomorrow at sunrise, she declared, you will come to my house. Not as a guest, not as a bride candidate, but as a helper. There is work to be done, the kind of work that reveals who a person truly is. People gasped. Some murmured, Ah, Mama has become hard, oh. Others whispered, she wants to test her again. But Mama lifted a hand, and the court fell silent. In this life, she continued, a woman who cannot humble herself in small things will never be able to stand strong in great things. Pride hides in places we least expect. Kindness is not measured when people are watching. It is measured when no one cares to look. Aisha bowed her head. I will come, she said firmly. And with that, the gathering ended. The sunrise test. The next morning, before the birds fully broke into song, Aisha arrived at the mansion. She wore no makeup, no jewelry, no fancy dress. Just a simple wrapper and a plain blouse. She knocked once, twice, and Mama opened the door herself. You are early, she observed. You asked me to come at sunrise, Aisha answered. So I came before it. Mama hid her approval behind a stern nod. Come inside. Inside the mansion, Mama pointed toward the courtyard. Leaves were scattered everywhere. Baskets were overturned. The walkway was dusted with last night's wind. Clean this place, Mama said. But do not rush. Do it well. And without another word, she walked away. Aisha got to work. She swept slowly, carefully. She picked each leaf, each twig, each stone with patience. She rearranged the baskets the way the older cleaners once did. She hummed softly, sad songs, hopeful songs, songs with no words. An hour passed, then 2, then 3. By now, the real household staff had gathered secretly at the kitchen window, whispering, "This girl is serious, oh. She doesn't even know we are watching her. Mama is testing her spirit." But Aisha did not know. She simply worked. At midday, when the sun was harsh, Mama approached her again. "There's another task," she said. She led her to the storeroom, a place often avoided because it held old tools, broken chairs, bags of rice, and memories Mama had buried long ago. One day, Mama said quietly, "This storeroom will be your responsibility. If you ever marry my son, you must learn to manage a home not with pride, but with wisdom." Aisha nodded and stepped inside. The air smelled of dust and wood, but she did not complain. She organized the bags of grains, stacked the boxes properly, fixed the crooked stool, and swept the floor until it looked nearly new. Hours passed again. Mama pretended to be indifferent, but she watched through the doorway, watched the girl she had doubted, watched her determination, watched her humility, watched her patience. She muttered to herself. Maybe this girl's heart is deeper than her silence. The final test. By late afternoon, Mama brought a bowl of water and a calabash. "Sit," she instructed. Aisha obeyed. Mama dipped her hand into the water and allowed it to drip slowly into the calabash. "Tell me," Mama said, "why did you never argue with the others when they insulted you that day? Why did you not defend yourself?" Aisha inhaled deeply. "I grew up in a place where shouting did not make truth louder," she said. "My mother taught me that the one who screams the most is not always the one who is right. I believe Mama that time would defend me, or God would, and if neither did, then perhaps I was not meant to be here." Mama felt a sting in her chest, a strange mix of guilt, recognition, and relief. "And why?" Mama asked again, more softly now. "Did you treat me kindly even when you thought I was just a cleaner?" Aisha smiled faintly. "My mother was once a cleaner. I know how people treat those they consider small. I know how loneliness tastes. I know how dignity feels when someone finally sees it. I didn't help you because I thought you were important. I helped you because you were human." Mama closed her eyes. The truth struck deep. It pierced through the walls she had built, the fears she had carried, the suspicions she had nurtured. Her son, David, had chosen a woman with a heart, not a woman with glitter. Mama exhaled. "Stand up," she said. Aisha stood. Mama lifted the calabash and poured the water gently on Aisha's hands. "In our culture," she said in a trembling voice, "this is how a mother blesses a woman she accepts into her family." A gasp escaped from Aisha, but before she could speak, Mama wrapped both arms around her. "You have passed every test," she whispered. "Not because you were perfect, but because you were true." The resolution. Later that evening, David rushed home after hearing what had happened in the village and the mansion. He ran straight to the courtyard where he found his mother and Aisha talking quietly. "Mama," he said breathlessly, "why didn't you tell me you were testing her?" "Because," Mama replied, "a woman's worth is not measured by the man who loves her, but by the heart she carries when nobody is watching." Then she turned to her son. "She is worthy of you, David. And more importantly, you must now prove yourself worthy of her." The villagers soon heard the news. Some felt humbled, some felt ashamed, some learned, and some, perhaps for the first time, understood that class, money, and status mean nothing if the heart is not right. That night, as lanterns glowed and the wind moved gently through the mango trees, Mama spoke the final lesson of the tale. "In this life, my children, never judge a person by the dust on their clothes. Judge them by the purity of the hands that carry that dust." And the village nodded, for the truth had finally revealed itself, just like it always does.